But there have been times I felt like, oh, I don't know what to do first, but you have always like got me back on track, say this is your priority right now, focus on this, and then you do that. And it's just really helped, because I think if I had have been left to my own devices, I might have given up on part of it. Even small things, we just like advise each other, and also to give each other a confidence boost. For example, when I got my first sale, like people were so genuinely like happy for me, and I hadn't expected all of that.
So hello everyone, assalamu alaikum, and welcome. Today I'm super excited because I am joined by Laura, who has been such a valuable member of our community and really a testament to what is possible with the right guidance. So if I haven't said this to you already, Laura, mashallah, like I'm proud of you. You should be so proud of yourself and your achievements and how far you've come. It's just been amazing. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Walaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
Before we dive into your actual experience with business mentorship, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your backstory, and how that led you into working with me?
So I trained as a primary school teacher and taught full-time for about 8 years. However, after a couple of years, I think I started to realise that it was taking over my life, and tried lots of different things to try and have a better work-life balance, which included teaching internationally. I did think about dropping to part-time as well, but realised that wasn't really a solution, because lots of colleagues of mine who were part-time ended up working on all of their days off. So I thought that wasn't a solution. I was in a lovely school and then actually changed to a different school, thinking that the workload may be different, because where I was before was a small school, and I thought going to a bigger school might help. There's more kind of a team to kind of share things around with. However, I just realised that it was different pressures, and some things were better, lots of things were worse. And at this point, I was getting a lot of burnout symptoms. I was struggling physically and mentally as a result of stress from the job. And I just sort of decided that I couldn't do this anymore and needed to find an alternative option.
And what did that burnout look like for you?
It kind of crept up on me without me realizing, and that's the scary thing about burnout. I think that over time, trying to keep all of the plates spinning in the air constantly, not getting enough sleep, and then that building on top of that week in and week out, and that workload being relentless and never stopping, slowly the signs started to come in of not being able to switch off, not being able to sleep properly, taking hours to fall asleep, waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to get back to sleep, thoughts just constantly going around my head. And it got to the point actually where I then started to have physical symptoms. So I was having like chest pains. I got this lump in my throat. I just felt like there was something stuck in my throat all the time. And I later realised that as a symptom of anxiety. Like I'd never had any of these symptoms before. Tearful, like anxious. And I just completely wasn't myself, but it literally crept up on me without, I think I probably just ignored those warning signs, because my head was just on that treadmill constantly, and I just couldn't see a way out of it.
Yeah. How did you feel just at the thought of leaving, like just at the thought of doing something different?
I kind of wished that I didn't have to do that, and that I wished that I could have a better balance in my life, but I didn't know how to achieve it. Financially, I needed my salary for my household. Secondly, I thought, I've spent a lot of money to train to be a teacher. I've invested a lot of years in education. I spent 5 years at university, and I just thought that would be a waste. Didn't really know what else I would be able to do after that either. So there was a big kind of conflict, and also my children were quite young at the time. It felt like it was a good career option, because it meant I didn't need childcare in the school holidays as well. And I think a lot of teachers who have young children feel that way. So I felt quite trapped, in all honesty.
And you reached out to me at that point, right? And my advice to you actually just made you laugh. What was my advice to you?
You said, in the exact tone of voice, "But why don't you just quit, Laura?" And I was like, what planet is she on? Like, she makes it sound so easy. Like, she hasn't got a clue.
Just quit and just set up your own business, Laura. Like, well, I don't see the problem.
And to me, that did not seem like a reality at all at that time. And I think that I had to go on for quite a long time and really hit rock bottom until I kind of thought, actually, maybe she was right.
So what led you to join my coaching program?
One thing, I had left the classroom and had set things up on my own, which was going okay, but I realized that I was wasting so much time. And I felt like there must be if I had the experience and knew where to get the information, there would have been a much quicker way for me to kind of set things up and start delivering things in the right way. I think I made so many mistakes, in all honesty, and I wasted so much time. I spent too much time focusing on the wrong things. So I realized that actually I needed an expert and a mentor to kind of guide me through those steps from A to Z, and just shortcut my journey for me. And that has what has been just revolutionized everything for me. And to also really think about who my target audience is and what the lifestyle that I want to create, and how am I going to achieve that through my work as well, which is something I hadn't really thought about before.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make, is they're trying to do everything just to try and fill in these gaps and make the money ASAP, rather than think about a long-term strategy and plan. Like, can you recall any specific moments or breakthroughs during the program that stand out for you?
I think first of all, it was identifying what my why was, because then I realized that actually the path that I was going on, trying to develop my business, wasn't going to give me the life that I strived. It was going to hold me down and tie me to specific locations, whereas I want the freedom to be able to move around. And that was a big wake-up call for me, actually, that I actually needed to have a different focus. So I would say that was the biggest turning point.
I remember you actually reaching out to me and saying, once you were in the mentorship, what about this idea? I've got this opportunity. And I was like, does it align with your 12-month goal?
Yeah, yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you were like, no, it doesn't. I was like, well, then don't do it.
Yeah. And I think that this was the problem that I had before I joined the mentorship program, that I took on so many opportunities and I was just so busy all of the time. But actually, although I was happy in that I had that freedom that I didn't have in the classroom, and I was choosing all of these things, but I did become incredibly busy. But I think I was busy without a focus. And that was the biggest change for me. It just really helped to like hone me in and focus me down on achieving a specific objective, so that actually you make far more progress, because I was concentrating my time just on one or two things rather than 10 things.
Yeah, absolutely. And have any of your learnings of the work with my mentorship so far, like how have they contributed to your personal and professional development?
I have learned so much since being on your mentorship. I think not only in terms of my work productivity, but also personally as well. I feel like it's really elevated me to the next level in terms of how to work smartly, how to work in a focused way. I've always been very disciplined, but I think that it's really taken me to the next level, and that was something that I wasn't expecting at all. It's made me think about like even my finances in a different way. I feel like I've learned and improved so much of my soft skills and organizational skills, even though I've always been organized, but it's just helped to refine everything. And then like practically as well, like, you know, if you'd have said to me 1 year ago that I would be doing Instagram lives, that I would be videoing myself and putting it on social media, like I would have thought you were barking mad. Like that has taken me completely out of my comfort zone, but I've done it and I can see the benefits of doing it. But it's not something that came naturally to me at all. It's not something that I enjoyed doing at all. In fact, it made me want to run away. But so it's given me the confidence to push myself to do things that I would never have done. And I've learned, and I realize now that in order to get to that next level, you have to be comfortable with putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation. That's how you grow. But if you want to stay in the same place all the time, you're not going to grow and you're not going to change anything.
It's easy to stay comfortable, but you're going nowhere.
Yeah.
I love that. And like when you build a business, like along the way, there's always different challenges that come up, whether that's internal or a practical thing that you need to do. Like, can you share any of those challenges that you've had and how my mentorship has maybe helped you overcome those?
Definitely having you on tap to ask questions has been invaluable, because it may seem something like really small to you because you've been doing it for such a long time. But for somebody like me, it was like, I really don't know which path to choose, or something that seems so simple to somebody was quite challenging, maybe with technology or just decisions. What should I choose over this or that? And you're always there to kind of guide me and say, you know, you need to do it this way because of X, Y, and Z. Or there have been times where I felt quite overwhelmed because there's been pressure on me to get certain things done by certain times. And obviously I've set those deadlines for myself, and I'm held accountable to you as well, which has been really helpful. But there have been times I felt like, oh, I don't know what to do first, but you have always like got me back on track, say this is your priority right now, focus on this, and then you do that. And it's just really helped, because I think if I had have been left to my own devices, I might have given up on part of it. And you know, especially maybe things like Instagram engagement, you know, that's been quite a challenge for me. But you just keep going, you know, you'll start to see the fruits of your labor, and it's so true, you know. So
you actually told me that this week, right, that your engagement has actually now gone up.
Yeah, it has. Yes, it has. But you know, after many weeks of just plugging away and behind the scenes and not seeing a lot of progress, you know, so it's just having somebody there say, you know, I've been through that, don't give up, this is how it works, this is how it is for everybody, it rises and falls, you know. And yeah, it's been hugely kind of motivating and gives you confidence as well.
Yeah, and as you know, inside the business mentorship, I've built a women's entrepreneur network within that, because I think it's such an important part. How has it been for you being part of that community? Has it impacted your journey at all? And are there any specific instances where you felt like supported or inspired by others? Like, what's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's such a beautiful platform and then a beautiful group of women, so much so that we quite often message each other, even like through Instagram, and you know, we'll ask each other questions if somebody has done something. So how did you do that, or what captions or what software did you use for that? So it's like even small things, we just like advise each other, and also to give each other a confidence boost. Like if somebody's had a win in the group, like for example, when I got my first sale, like people were so genuinely like happy for me, and you know, I hadn't expected all of that support, and it's just a really nice feeling. And likewise, you know, it's mutual, we're all there to kind of support each other. Or for example, when we're thinking about our branding colors, you know, we can put polls on there and people can vote and say why they think this would be a good option. So it's just really helpful to get opinions and advice, experience from a group of women who are in a similar situation to you, on a similar journey to you, although with different plans. But yeah, it's really beneficial, very useful to have that.
And taking yourself back to before you started with the business mentorship, what would you say to someone that is thinking about setting up or scaling their business, but they don't feel they're ready? Like, what would they need to be able to start? And imagine at that point they know nothing, like they've not done any work with me.
I would say, first of all, you will never ever feel ready. You will never feel ready to push yourself to the next level. There'll never be a right time in your kind of circumstances where you feel like all of your ducks are lined up in a row. You just have to make that decision that you have to go for it. And I think you have to create this mindset that in order to develop a business, it starts with yourself first, and you need to be prepared to invest in yourself. And I think that that's so important, because as I said, you know, when I started up, I just sort of taught myself everything, but I wasted so much time. I think I could have accelerated my journey had I have got a mentor much sooner. And I think that would be the real advice that I would say to somebody: find somebody who you think is a good fit for you, and just go all in and learn from them, learn from the mistakes that they have made. They're going to shortcut you to your end destination, which ultimately is going to bring you the lifestyle that you want to create for yourself.
Absolutely. And what would you say to the woman that sat at home on the sofa thinking, I think I'd like to try something like that, but I'm not sure?
I think this is going to sound very cliched, but I think you just have to go for it, because I always say it's better to live a life of regret, of kind of thinking, oh, that didn't work and that was a mistake, rather than looking back and thinking, oh, I wish I'd have tried that, but I never was brave enough to try it. If you don't try, you're not going to know, and you're always going to wonder what if, but actually it could have just been the best thing that you did in your life, you know, absolutely could. And it can, you know, you see people's lives change from investing in themselves. And I think that's, if you're going to invest in anything, invest in yourself. It's the most powerful thing.
And you've recently got back from, how long was it you were away for?
I went away for 5 weeks over the Christmas kind of break. Yeah.
Would you ever have been able to do that before?
No. And, you know, it's about setting up your lifestyle in the way that is conducive to the way you want to live. I would never have been able to do that, to travel in term time. I've never been able to do that. And in fact, since I've left teaching, since I've started your mentorship, I've probably traveled about 3 or 4 times abroad. I would never have been able to afford that on my teacher salary. So yeah, becoming self-employed or starting your own business can really give you that freedom to have a drastically different life, which benefits not only you, but your family as well. So yeah,
I love that.
I would recommend it.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to share the journey. your words are going to resonate probably with so many other women that are thinking about maybe starting a journey like this. And I'm super excited for the next phase of your journey, inshallah. I can't wait to see what's to come. So thank you very much for your time, Laura.
Thank you, Khadijah. I really appreciate everything you've done for me, and also excited for the journey ahead. Thank you so much.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.